A few minutes later, Brenda was across town with a spoon, eating out of the pint of her sister Robbie's mint chocolate chip ice cream. Ice cream she was not supposed to be eating, having been diagnosed as pre-diabetic, but she needed to celebrate. Besides, Robbie, an emergency room nurse, was working at the hospital and wouldn't be home until 9. She was only going to eat a little around the edges of the carton and then mash it around, and Robbie would never know the difference anyway. Brenda was deep in thought. Surely, when the whirling dervishes were not whirling, they had to wear regular clothes, at least when they traveled. They couldn't fit on a plane in those tall cone hats, particularly not on the small jets where the ceilings were so low. But maybe they traveled in buses like the country western stars did. Buses had tall ceilings. But then she realized they couldn't take a bus all the way from Turkey, and so they had to fly sometimes, or maybe they took a boat. She glanced over at the photograph in the newspaper again, and those tall hats looked very heavy to her. She began to wonder how much they weighed, or if the dervishes ever got headaches from wearing them, and before she knew it, Brenda looked down and saw that she had gone through half the pint of Robbie's ice cream. Oh, damn it! There was no way she could hide that now. She was going to have to run out to the convenience store and buy a new pint to replace it. The last time she had done this, she'd filled the carton with water, but when Robbie had opened it and had seen that it was mostly ice, she had suspected something. Brenda turned the carton over and looked to see if Robbie had put a mark on the bottom. Robbie was on to all of her ice cream tricks and sometimes put an X on the bottom to try and catch her. There was no mark on this one. Good. She couldn't afford to get caught cheating on her diet again. She had been caught red-handed just 3 months ago, and with Robbie being a nurse and worried about Brenda's health, it had not been a pretty scene. Even though Robbie was her younger sister by 7 years, she was very bossy. She was also much taller than Brenda was and as skinny as a rail. Unfortunately, Brenda had taken after their mother's side of the family and was only 5'5", and at the moment, she was at her medium weight of around 166 pounds. Her good weight was 150 pounds, and 178 pounds was her top. Consequently, Brenda had 3 different sets of clothes hanging in her closet, labeled good, medium, and fat as a hog. She had not been in her good range since Hazel Wissenot had died over 5 years ago. I eat out of stress, she told Robbie, and now, between work and nephews driving her crazy, she was just on the verge of having to switch from her medium to her fat-as-a-hog wardrobe again, which meant she was going to have to switch shoe sizes as well. Robbie said she was the only person in America who gained weight in her feet. Brenda went ahead and finished the last of the ice cream and wrapped the empty carton in tinfoil and hid it at the bottom of the garbage can under the sink. She rinsed off the spoon, dried it, and put it back in the silverware drawer, then picked up the stalk of bananas and the bowl on the counter. She took a carton of milk out of the refrigerator and grabbed the new box of Cheerios from under the counter and put them in a paper bag, put her new Tina Turner wig back on, grabbed her purse, and headed out the door. She didn't want to go out, but if she got caught eating ice cream again, there would be all hell to pay, especially after what had happened just 3 months ago. When she and Maggie had found out that the house they had in escrow and had worked long and hard to sell had major structural problems and the buyer had backed out, Brenda had been very upset. Not only had they lost the sale, but she was hoping to buy that new 50-inch television set with her part of the commission. Brenda knew darn well she shouldn't have done it, but that afternoon she had driven over to a part of town where no one knew her, and Robbie was unlikely to see her, and stopped at an ice cream place. She went in and ordered a large hot fudge sundae with whipped cream, 3 cherries, and nuts on the top. She was heading back to her car with it when suddenly A boy ran up and tried to snatch her purse right off her arm. The good news was that he didn't get her purse, but the bad news was that the next morning the entire incident wound up being reported in the Birmingham news. Hot Fudge Sundae fends off robber. Miss Brenda Peoples of 1416 Second Court South said that she was in no mood to give up her purse to a would-be purse snatcher and fought him off with a large plastic dish containing a hot fudge sundae she was holding at the time. A bystander who witnessed the incident said that she wailed the living tar out of him. When the police arrived at the Foster's Freeze parking lot where the altercation occurred, they reported that although not seriously injured, the 18-year-old perpetrator was a real mess. Everyone who read the article thought it was the funniest thing that had happened since a man tried to hold up the Alabama First National Bank with a live lobster. But Brenda had been furious that they had printed her name in the paper. Not only had Robbie found out that she was cheating, but also she had been attending Weight Watchers at the time, and thanks to that nosy reporter, everyone in her group found out, so she never went back. She told Maggie if she had known they were going to put her name in the papers, she would have just given the fool her purse and finished her hot fudge sundae in peace. The only consolation she had was that after the attempted purse snatching, the ice cream people made her a new sundae free of charge to replace the one she had used as a weapon. Of course, this was something she did not mention to Robbie.